everyone, this is Judi with JLBCrafts. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thank you so much for giving me a try, especially if you're considering following along with my hand lettering lessons. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick rundown of what I feel like the secrets are to hand lettering. I tried to work on my hand lettering back in 2019. We've all seen those challenges where they give you usually seasonal words. This is the September, let's see. Yep, this was the first time I tried to work on my hand lettering, 2019. And I had found a challenge and it had a fancy little word for each day. I got a hand lettering book that had, I figured the more different alphabets, the better. 20, and how could you go wrong with traceable alphabets, right? So I just picked one I loved and I started trying to write them and trace them. And I hated it, you guys. I hated it. I did. I thought they looked terrible. I didn't see any improvement. I did a sum total of about 2 days worth of practice, which again, I hated. It didn't look right. It didn't look like the hand lettering that some of the big YouTubers do. And I quit. I tried again then when the Big Love Letters planner came out. I tried again. So some of you may have seen my posts mostly on Facebook and a little bit on Instagram showing my progress. So I didn't try it again in 2020 while everything was going crazy, but then this planner came out in 2021, so I was super excited. I bought it and I was like, yes, I'm gonna learn hand lettering. Okay, what pens do I need? I don't know. Happy Planner didn't tell us what pens we needed. What am I supposed to write? I don't know. Happy Planner didn't tell us what we were supposed to write. They basically show what you're supposed to use this entire week, all of this space just to write the M over and over and over and over again, and then never write the M again. That doesn't make any sense to me. I didn't know about strokes, light up, heavy down. What do I want to do if I want additional paper? I love the planner, don't get me wrong, and I've been using it faithfully. For those of you that follow me, you know I've been using it faithfully this whole entire year of 2021, and I am going to do 2022. But regardless, the thing that made the difference, so this was my week 1, and I have to tell you, it was pretty discouraging, you guys. If you go back and look at my very first, I would say 3 videos, the first one was me getting this all set up. I was so excited, I was gonna do it. The second one was this first week of practice, and it looks, I mean, it looks pretty darn terrible, you guys. I was not happy with it. And I was so bummed. I'm like, I'm not going to fail at this again. So I watched a bunch of videos. I learned about light up strokes and heavy down strokes and drills. And I thought about muscle memory. And you guys, it's making such a huge difference. Let me flip through to my most recent week of practice. I just did the Q week. So here we go. So, I mean, if you look at, I'm just so happy. So I want to talk about what made the difference for me, how I learned finally, and anybody can do this. It really wasn't a huge amount of effort. How I went from this, you guys, to this. And my hand, it didn't take 9 months. My handwriting started looking better right away, in my opinion. Not handwriting. Let me back up. Hand lettering. So I want to talk about the secrets, you guys. What I feel like made the difference this year for me to see some big time improvements. So first of all, understanding what hand lettering is. It's not cursive. It's a form of calligraphy. It's not foligraphy, where you use something like a gel pen or a felt tip pen and you draw strokes to make the letters artificially fat in certain places. That's considered foligraphy, and that's a lesson for another day. Hand lettering is having the right pen and the right paper to do light up strokes and heavy down strokes. So that's what it is. Key number 1 for me is understanding what it is. Light up strokes And by light, I mean thin. So these are my light upstrokes. My heavy downstrokes, so they're fat. And then here we do light up, heavy down, light up, heavy down. So you see the key is the difference in the thickness depending on the direction that your pen is going. Here they're connected, light up, connecting down into a heavy down. Same thing here. We're going heavy down into a light up. So you can see the difference in thicknesses of the lines changes based on the direction that your pen is going in. And so again, here I've got my lowercase o, heavy down, thin, light up. And if you've ever learned to play piano, if you've ever learned to play an instrument, learning to drive a stick shift car, I mean, so much of that is muscle memory. It's difficult and awkward when you first try, but before too long, your muscles, your hands, your feet, if in the case of a stick shift car, they just know. Like when you learn to type, you don't have to think anymore which finger to put where to press an A down, right? How to spell your name when you type. Typing is a wonderful example of muscle memory. When you're learning to type, it takes forever, but once you know how, it's easy peasy, right? Okay, so the next thing is how do I make these light ups and heavy downs? Obviously, the pen that I was using here wasn't capable of doing that, even if I had known about light ups and heavy downs. Something like a Papermate Flare, it just can't even do that, you guys. So that's key number 2, is having the right pens for the job. And so to do hand lettering, you need brush pens. Now I am not recommending you go out and buy every brush pen you can lay your hands on, because A, that's a big investment, and B, you need to test a few and figure out which one feels natural in your hands, and that's going to change as you build your muscle memory, okay? So I have tested a lot of different pens. These are just a fraction of them, but one of the things, let's talk about some vocabulary and explain some things about pens. So brush pens come in many different size tips, from very big, like a Tombow. There's a couple different kinds of Tombows. This is the dual brush pen, okay, you guys? So look how big. I'll hold them all in my hand so you can see for comparison. Look how big that tip is. So the key, what makes a brush pen is that the tip is not rigid, it's flexible, right? So the other end of the Tombow, that is not flexible. That is a rigid tip. The only way I'm going to get that to flex is if I break it because I'm pressing so hard, right? So I can press hard, heavy down, light up, heavy down, and nothing changes. All right, but this end does flex. You can see it bend and flex. Okay, maybe you can't. I'm gonna zoom in now that I'm not looking at such big stuff so you guys can see a little better. So this pen flexes when I put pressure on it, and it's made to have you put pressure on it. So don't be afraid of putting pressure on your pen tips and making them flex, okay? So heavy down, look how wide and fat that line is. And then I release the pressure, light up, heavy down. See, so there's my A, okay? Heavy down, light up, heavy down. So understanding how a brush pen works and then finding one that feels good in your hand, that is secret to success number 2. I'm playing with my lighting so that you guys can see this because the sun just came out. So, all right, so when you're first starting out, you need to concern yourself with a couple things. You need to think about what size planner are you writing in. Most of us are going to be writing in a Happy Planner or something similar in size to a planner. We're not learning brush lettering so that we can write a whole bunch of garage sale signs, right? So these letters, this pen is pretty fat, right? If you wanted to write the month October up along the side, which I've been doing somewhat lately in my, I've been doing some blackout spreads in my dashboard planner. Let me get this pen bag out of the way. So I can write really big, right? So, but here's the thing, if you've got a giant brush tip, you're only going to be able to write so small with that. So here I'm using, this is big Happy Planner dotted line paper. So if I were to try to write October with this size brush tip, it just, on one line, it would be really difficult because it just wants to be so fat. It makes it really hard to get a clear space and differentiation between the fat, light up, and heavy down, right? I mean, I can't even get space in there. So you need to use a brush pen that is size appropriate for the size that you want to write. So this is also a Tombow. This is a Tombow Fudenosuke. All right, this is also a brush tip, but look how much smaller it is, you guys. So there are the two right beside each other. Okay, the entire nib of this one, only this tippy tip here flexes on this one, but the entire tip all the way to the metal where it attaches to the barrel is still smaller than the brush on the dual brush pen. So don't grab just anything that says brush pen and think that it's going to work for you, okay? You need to think about the size. So this is considered, I believe they consider this a fine tip brush pen. So again, though, the tip does flex. Heavy down, light up, heavy down. So if I try to write October with this one, you can see I'm writing about the same size, but it's much easier to see, and you can still see the fat versus the thin, depending on whether I'm doing a heavy down or a light up. But there you can see space in the E. I mean, so I tried to write the same size, and I still have fat and thin to my stroke, but I can write much, much smaller comfortably. Okay, so I do have one more size I want to show you guys, and this one is what I would call a micro brush pen, and the only one I've been able to find on these is the MONAMI 3000, and actually it's technically not even considered a brush pen. It's the MONAMI, where is it? Let me get you, I'm so zoomed in I can't find there. MONAMI Plus Pen 3000. So let me show you this size of this tip in comparison now to the already fine tip Tombow Fudenosuke. So see how much smaller yet this one is, even tinier. All right, but it flexes, and I'm able to achieve a fat downstroke, fat, and a thin upstroke. But you can see, even with this, I could write even smaller with this. So I could even try to do half a line on this. There. So see, there you can see the three different size pens. You can see light up, heavy down, and I just guys was running around, so my handwriting's not super smooth right now. But you can definitely see the difference between the three pens. Oops, and that's supposed to be a minimum. I can't spell. Not under pressure. Okay, anyway, so the next thing I want to talk about when it comes to brush pens is quality of the brush pen. So as I'm pushing down on the tip of this pen, let me grab another one. This one is a Zebra Funwari. So Zebra, the same company that brings you mild liners, has another fine tip. So again, this tip is going to look very, very similar to the Tombow Fudenosuke I just showed you. The tip on this pen, again, it doesn't look like it, but it's flexible. It is a fine tip brush pen. So you can see it's flexing. You can see light, thin upstrokes and heavy downstrokes. And I'm not having any trouble sticking to one line on this paper. Okay? So as I'm pressing, I'm holding my pen and I'm pressing, this tip is bending. And as I lift up, this tip needs to bend back, come back to center, or bounce back to center. If I put a lot of pressure on this and I flex it down and it stays bent, and then it doesn't unbend when I release pressure, if it doesn't bounce back, then I have to get in the habit of twisting the pen or just taking extra steps to get my light upstroke. So you want, that's what we refer to as good bounce back. And the higher quality pens have good bounce back. So when you're starting out, you want the pen to really, you don't have fine control yet over your heavy down and your light up. So you want a pen that is really responsive to that and really moves and changes when you press down. So the third pen I have for you is the Pentel brush sign pen. So of these three, this is basically the order. The Tombow Fudenosuke is the stiffest, and again, I'm talking about fine brush pens. These are the ones that are going to be appropriate in size for your big love letters planner and your classic love letters planner for 2022. You don't have to have all these colors. You can get them all in black and just see, give it a few weeks, see which one bounces back for you, see which one gives you the better light up and heavy down, feels good in your hand. And that may change from day to day. Some days, you know, if I'm really high energy, the stiffer pens are just fine. Some days, if I'm just, you know, feeling really mellow and I've got the jazz in the background and I'm just wanting to relax and zone out and do some hand lettering, the softer pens work better. So here you can see again, this is the third one. This is the Pentel brush sign pen. Again, very, very, very similar. They've got the plastic, the flexible tip that goes into the plastic piece that goes into the metal piece that attaches to the pen. All three of these are very, very similar. This one though is even softer yet. So you can see I have about the same heavy downstrokes, but my light upstrokes are a little bit fatter. So if you're really looking for great definition between your fat, heavy downstroke and your thin, light upstroke, this is going to be the third pen on your list. So when I started, you can see my very, very first week, everything's black. That's because I had a black Tombow Fudenosuke, I had a black zebra Funwari, and that's it. Let me show you. These are the exact pens I had. This is what I started with. All right. And you can see a little bit of the light up and heavy down, but you know, I didn't know. This just said, oh, right. This first week of this 2021 planner. And if you look at the 2022 planner, those of you that have the big and the classic 2022 love letters planner, I'm zoomed back out. That's okay. If you look at your first week, oh, that's it. The oval stroke is used to write the letter O and is used to create all of these letters, and that's it. That's all the direction they give you, right? Very frustrating. Like you're gonna fill up all this whole entire space with O's. It doesn't really talk to you much about light up strokes and heavy down strokes, any of that. I had to figure that all out on my own. Luckily, I found some great YouTube videos. I mean, it talks a little bit. It shows this one on this facing page, it shows some fat lines and some thin lines, but it really doesn't talk about you're starting where the solid dot is and coming down in the direction of the arrowhead. It's so small you can't even tell that's really what it is, you guys. So knowing what hand lettering is, having the right tools, and then direction, you guys, having direction. So knowing what a font is like, for those of you that don't know, a font, for example, would be, how do I make my S? Do I make my S like this? Light, heavy, light, light, heavy, light. Do I make it like the traditional cursive one we learned in school? I'm sorry, I'm not even on screen. I'm zoomed in so far. Apologies, guys. Do we make it some kind of mix between the two? I mean, these are all the same letter S, but they're different font styles. So discovering the style of font that you like this one, 20 different traceable alphabets. So each one is a different font, and you can go in and figure out which one you like. So just having some sort of direction like that. So that's where my challenge came in, and I decided to go ahead and create words using the letters as we learned them. So, okay, we've learned the O. Then does that mean that we come in next week where we learn the C and we never write the O again? How are we supposed to remember how to do the O? So I started creating words that just used letters we already knew so that we got practice on the letters from the previous weeks. Okay, so that's all really the tips. The tips are the secrets are knowing what hand lettering is. Light upstroke, heavy downstroke. B is knowing what pens to use. What is a brush pen? Why do I need a brush pen? How do I decide what brush pen to get? What brush pen to use? Size-wise, for the space I want to write in, stiffness and bounce back so that I can find the one that feels good in my hand and is responsive. If you find the right brush pen, and I heard this the first time, I was like, yeah, right. But you guys, it's absolutely true. If you find the right brush pen for you, hand lettering will be 10 times easier. And I will admit to you guys, my absolute favorite brush pen after 9 months of doing this is the Kuretake. It's called a Fudebiori. But you guys, don't go out and buy a bunch of Fudebioris, because here we go. Look at this tip size. Okay, it is as big as the Tombow dual brush pen, almost as big. It's a little bit smaller. But these are the pens that I use when I write a big word in my dashboard planner. Like I wrote the word, we'll just write hello. Look how fat that is. It looks beautiful, you guys. It is so easy with a big, flexible, juicy brush pen like this to get fat downstrokes and light, thin upstrokes. I mean, look at that. Oh my gosh. So gorgeous. But you're not going to be able to write in your happy planner a grocery list with this. It would be ginormous. It would take up the entire page. So love this pen, but it has a very limited use because of how big it writes. Can I write smaller with this pen? I can, but it's not going to look that fantastic. So, and look at that. It doesn't bleed through. I mean, good pens don't bleed through very much either. So, and that is a very dark blue color. That is peacock blue. It's one of the darkest blues I have. Okay, so take some time. Think about the pens. Again, I recommend, so if you're watching this, trying to figure out what you need to be ready to go with me when we start the 2022 lessons. And I will go back, you guys, and talk about light up and heavy down and all that. But if you're trying to prepare to start this challenge with me on Monday, December 27th, which is when both the big and the classic love letters planner for 2022, I gotta zoom back out, you guys. I'm like not able to show you most of the stuff. If you're trying to figure out what you need to get ready for this, I would recommend you get a Tombow Fudenosuke in a color. And I just checked, they do have these at, My Michaels has a terrible, very, very limited, terrible pen supply. Like I went through there and I was able to find a sum total of 2 brush pens and not even in all the colors. So this is a mild liner, zebra again. So just like the Funwari, where'd it go? This is this one. This is a zebra Funwari. Zebra makes the mild liners. Mild liners come in 2 versions. They both have 2 tips. This is the traditional highlighter tip version with the chisel tip. And then it's just got a bullet tip on the back end, not flexible. And then you can also get it in a brush version, which I have never invested in because A, it's giant again, okay guys? So beautiful flex, beautiful bounce back. Love it, but a couple reasons. A, they're not the cheapest pens, but that's okay, right? You pay for quality. They're mild liners, you guys. So I'm not going to find one in this super deep, vibrant peacock blue. I'm not going to find one in a crimson Christmas red. They're mild liners, so you're going to get mild liner colors. They're huge, so you're not going to be able to do your fine lettering. If you try to write happy birthday in your vertical happy planner, even in a big vertical happy planner, it's going to be ginormous. It's not going to fit in there, you guys. So I also found Sharpie has brush pens. Again, my Michaels did not have a very big selection, but I went ahead and grabbed one. So I've never used this before. Right now on camera with you guys, this is the first time I'm using this. Okay, it's mid-size. It's not quite as big. Good flex. When I release pressure, it does go back to center. It's got good bounce back. Not bad. I'd be interested to see. It's relatively juicy. Pretty good bounce back, you guys, I will say. But again, it's pretty darn fat. So I'm not going to be able to write this small with this pen. It's too fat. Bleed through. So this got a little bit of shadowing. I know, you can't see it on camera. You can see it a little bit. So having decent paper, you're not going to want to go buy the cheapest copy paper to do hand lettering on. I would recommend a horizontal planner. You guys, you can get school notebook paper as long as it's not the super cheap stuff. And if it is, that's okay. Just don't be surprised if you can't use the back side, okay? And you're going to use 2 sets of lines together, because if you look super close at these pages you have in the Happy Planner you just bought, it's a solid line, a dotted line, and a solid line. So this is your baseline, your midline, and then this is obviously the baseline of the line up above. But so you can use any ruled paper as long as you have you use a pair of lines together as your writing space, okay? You don't want to use super rough paper, because that will cause your pens to fray a little bit sooner than they should. So that's it. Those are my secrets, you guys. The right tools. Oh, and pacing. So the first time I tried to do one of these challenges, leaves, I had to learn a capital L, a little E, a little A, a little V, and an S, just to do one day's challenge. So I was flipping back and forth, trying to learn all these different ones. And the second day got even worse. Capital L, capital D, an A, a B, an O, an R, and a Y, all to learn in one day. So pacing. I do like, the one thing I really like about this book is you don't learn the letters in alphabetical order. You learn the letters in a way where the strokes connect to each other and make sense. They flow. I also think that learning one letter a week is plenty fast enough. You really don't want to try to learn too many letters all at once. You'll forget. I mean, even now, my capital letters, I still look back at to remember how I was doing certain letters, because it's a process, and like any process, like typing or playing an instrument, if you don't use it, you lose it. So I definitely do agree. Practice, practice, practice. But you need to make sure you're practicing the right thing and you're using the right tools when you practice. So I hope this has been informative. I hope you will consider joining me. You absolutely can take your hand lettering from this week 1 right out of the door, practicing light ups and heavy downs. And let me go to the end of June, which would be the 26th week and the last letters. And it's not, I'm still learning, but oh my gosh, what a huge difference. What a huge difference just in 26 weeks, you guys. And I will admit to you guys, I did not do this on Monday, this on Tuesday, this on Wednesday. I I did 1 day a week. I do my video and I write all of the practice. It takes a couple hours, but I do the entire week's worth of practice in 1 day because I'm filming the video. So if you don't have, and I still have seen fantastic improvement, you guys. My hand lettering has gotten so good. I mean, look at that. I love it. It's not perfect, and that's why I'm going to go ahead and do another year. But you don't have to practice every single day. You can do like me and do once a week. Just give yourself time, baby steps, right? You don't decide to run a marathon, jog a couple times, and then go do a marathon, right? You build up. There's a challenge where you build up from couch to marathon in X number of weeks or whatever. So, you know, give yourself time to learn each letter, teach yourself the muscle memory, light up, heavy down, buy a pen here and there as you can afford it, figure out which ones feel natural in your hand, which ones make the light ups and the heavy downs, the light thin upstrokes and the fat heavy downstrokes just kind of flow. I mean, because when you find the right pen for you, the right stiffness, you're gonna know. You're gonna know, and you're gonna sit back after a lettering practice session and just be like, wow, that went really well. And it's gonna be because you found the right pen for you. So I hope you like this video. I hope it gets you excited to do a little preparation and get ready to join me for 2022 for the Big Love Letters Planner. And if you're so super excited that you can't stand it and you just need to get started right now, I will link the video that I recommend you start with. It's about my 3rd video at the beginning of 2021. It's going to be the one where I introduce the Big Love Letters Challenge and we start for a repeat on the letter O. So I hope you like this video. I hope it helps you get up and running and started and excited and actually can be successful learning how to hand letter. If you do like this video, please consider joining me for 2022. My 2021 videos aren't going anywhere. And please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. All my lettering videos post first thing on Sunday mornings. Thank you for joining me.